The following program, American Playhouse, contains language which is adult in nature and may be unsuitable for younger and more sensitive viewers.
Next on American Playhouse, the Tony-nominated play now selling out in London and opening next week in Moscow with tonight's original Broadway cast of Sam Waterston and Robert Prosky, starring as two arms negotiators who walk away from the conference table in hope of reconciling the differences between themselves and their countries. Immediately following the broadcast, stay tuned for an interview with author Lee Blessing. And now, please join us for A Walk in the Woods. The presentation of American Playhouse is made possible by the nation's public television stations, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the National Endowment for the Arts, and by the Chubb Group of insurance companies, for over 100 years providing business and personal insurance worldwide through independent agents and brokers.
So I told him, this was your reporter, you understand, a network reporter. I told him when Brezhnev was in power, he always began Politburo meetings by saying, the survival of the Soviet Union depends on the total annihilation of America.
You told him that?
How was I to know he'd believe it? He actually filed that report with his network. It was nearly broadcast. But finally someone had the sense to ask him, what told you that? Andrei Botvinnik? And they canceled it. They know I make jokes. That reporter now, I think, is covering restaurants. Do you like this place? Shall we sit?
Do you think we should stop?
Why not?
Well, we spoke of this as a walk in the woods.
We are walking. We're sitting. We're walking again.
But the reporters will be
Reporters
expecting
expect us when they see us. They love for us not to be on time. Much speculation. More column inches. Go, sit down.
All right.
Fine, fine, fine. Now we are sitting. This is good. The trees are lovely in the late summer here. So full. You came at a good time.
It's beautiful.
Have you been to Switzerland before?
No.
Well, you must enjoy the lake, the mountain trails, so on, so forth.
I will, thank you.
Mr. McIntyre loved the trails. He was very fond of hiking.
Yes, I know.
He told you.
Yes?
How is he doing, Mr. McIntyre?
Very well. He's with a law firm now in New York.
Really? He's not back at the Arms Control Agency?
No, he thought he'd try the private sector again.
Ah, the private sector. A wonderful thing you Americans have. To think, a refuge from government service. McIntyre, they come and they go, huh?
Does that bother you?
Not when someone as pleasant as you is sent to replace him.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
We're beginning to sound like a pair of diplomats.
We are a pair of diplomats.
Well, negotiators.
And negotiators, of course.
I mean, that is our primary function.
Yes.
Diplomacy comes second in a sense. It's really someone else's job.
If you insist.
I don't insist. I'm just trying to be clear, that's all.
You are clear.
Tell me, why have we taken a walk in the woods?
What do you mean?
I mean, why? Does your government have something to communicate about our new proposal?
No,
or do you have
no, nothing like that. There are many ways to discuss a proposal. We don't have to come out here.
It's a very good proposal.
I know it is.
Very good.
Absolutely. On my side, we are all in disarray, believe me. But that's not why we're here. Today, I only wanted you to see the woods.
To see the woods.
Yes, and talk. Simply, man to man. Mужчина с мужчиной. Да?
Man to man.
The woods are very useful. For once, we'll be trading proposals across a table. Here, there is no table. We can relax, ignore things, talk about trees, lakes, whatever.
I see. The reporters will be disappointed.
Why?
They think we're out here getting all the real work done. So you're not interested in doing any work out here?
What do you call work? Only what we do at the table? This is valuable, too.
What? Sunning ourselves on a bench?
Tell me, do you plan to be a very formal negotiator?
Should I be?
No, please, anything but formal. It was the one thing I didn't like about McIntyre. We negotiated for 2 years. He never changed his position.
The American position changed?
No, his position, sitting there at the table. He always sat straight up. For 2 years, he never relaxed. He thought it gave him a moral advantage. It didn't. He looked like a dog waiting for his supper.
I'll tell him that.
Would you? It's the one thing I think he should change. Formality allows many things, but it does not allow friendship.
I think formality is
Formality is simply anger with its hair combed. I could never make a friend out of McIntyre. It was a great disappointment. For 2 years he sat there, 1 meter away, over 100 sessions. We never became friends. After all, what does that say about me?
Is it good, do you think, for arms negotiators to become friends?
Someone has to.
But is that, strictly speaking, our job?
Perhaps it isn't. You like the trees here. They are very neutral.
I'm only saying perhaps two disinterested and more formal parties can do a better job negotiating a treaty.
Tell me, what do you think of the nose on the face of the Reuters correspondent?
The Reuters, why do you ask?
Quick, what do you think?
It's very large.
It is enormous. I can't look at anything else in press conferences. Wait, you stare like I do.
Mr. Botton-Bennett.
Oh, please, Andre.
Andre.
Andreushka, if you like. Perhaps I could call you Johnny.
John would be fine. Andre, I appreciate your desire to become friends. Indeed, in many of my former negotiations, I did become friends with those on the other side. After a successful settlement, not before.
I see.
I think it's important for us both to remember that there are issues here.
Of course.
Which must be resolved.
Certainly.
Making friends is a fine thing, but not on someone else's time, so to speak. Do you follow me?
Oh, yes.
When I took this post, it was to bring something new here. A new formula, a breakthrough.
Yes, yes, a breakthrough.
A plan I personally helped develop for more than a year.
Wonderful. Welcome. A new man with a new plan.
I didn't have to come here, you know. I could have stayed safe behind my desk in Washington. Someone more like McIntyre could have been chosen. But since I have a first-hand knowledge of this proposal, and since I myself have a strong record as a negotiator...
At the lower level.
At a lower level... work this one through. I have a lot to offer, Andre. I know these issues. They haven't just sent me to enunciate policy. I'm here to get something done. I hope you'll want to help me.
Whatever I can contribute to the spirit of things.
I don't want the spirit of an agreement. I want an agreement. An honest one. Fair to both sides.
I see. Well, who knows? As friends, we will certainly be able to come to some...
No, listen.
Yes?
What I'm saying about friendship is that it takes us away from the central point.
Which is?
Commitment. Mutual commitment to the hard work of negotiating a treaty. We need to find our rewards there in difficult problems worked on together and solved together. That's the sort of personal relationship I'm seeking here. That's what I would like. Andre? How do you feel about what I'm saying?
What?
I'd really like to know.
What do you?
Very much.
Very well. I feel
Yes.
you have a string on your suit.
A string? A thread, you mean?
A thread? Yes. Here. So, now you look fine. What should we talk about?
You're changing the subject.
I am?
Yes.
Really? I'm sorry. What was it, please?
I was told you liked changing the subject.
Not at all. That's a very nice suit, by the way.
Mr. McIntyre said it's your favorite ploy.
I never use ploys. Is it Italian?
English.
Really? Everything I have is Italian.
Are we done talking about this now?
About what?
About suits?
If you like.
Yes, I do like, thank you.
Don't mention it.
So, will you answer my question?
What question?
My question about whether or not you agree that we shouldn't be friends.
Oh, was that the subject before that I changed?
Yes, it was.
Ah, well, my answer is, of course, that I agree with you.
You agree with me?
Yes.
That we shouldn't be friends?
Yes.
That's not what you said before.
Oh, but then I didn't know your view. Now I do, and I want to agree with you.
You want to agree with me?
Yes.
Why?
Because you are my friend.
I can't be your friend. That's my whole position.
Yes, and I agree.
You can't agree.
But I do.
You're contradicting yourself.
I know, but I'll go to any length to keep a friend.
I was told you like to contradict yourself.
Will you pardon me for a moment, please?
Is something wrong with your eyes?
No, they become very dry, that's all. It's most uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
Are you seeing a doctor?
Several of them. Over the last month or two, Swiss doctors. It is nothing.
What do they say?
Do you want this for your files? I will tell you. They tell me I have Sjogren's syndrome.
Sjogren's syndrome? What's that mean?
It means I have dry eyes.
That's all?
That's all. Dry eyes, dry nose, dry mouth. Whatever should be wet is dry.
What can they do for it?
Nothing. They told me to eat wet food. They gave me artificial tears. Live with it, they said. Clay did.
Clay?
Paul Clay, the Swiss artist. Oh, he too apparently had this problem. The doctors took great pride in telling me. Imagine having national pride in a disease. I'm sorry for the delay. That was not a ploy, however. Only a sickness. What were we discussing?
Perhaps we should be getting back. If you don't feel well.
No, I'm fine.
Still, it's probably time.
We just got here. Don't you like it?
I like it fine. It's just that I'd prefer a little...
table, yes, I know.
No, not a table. What's said over it? I need some seriousness. I think we owe our governments that much, don't you?
Do you like me?
Andre,
Answer my question.
I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going back now.
Without me? What would the reporters think of that? We leave together, return separately. Significant rumors. So tell me, aren't you embarrassed to be an American?
No.
I am. But to be Russian, I mean.
Why?
Look at us, Americans and Russians. The world's great powers. The world's great fools. Year after year, we sit here among the mountaintops. We talk about our weapons. So many of them. Weapons on land, in the sea, in the air, in space. So many. Let's get rid of some, we say, before there's an accident. We talk so seriously. We calculate. We make proposals. And we nearly always fail. It's embarrassing. The best we can do is to take away a few missiles once in a while, for sure. Beyond that, nothing. If the world were not terrified of us, it would laugh.
That may be, but
Why
I
are we
think
failing? I ask myself this. For years we have been here, we keep failing.
I think the reasons
I
are
know
pretty...
the reason. I finally discovered who is to blame. Would you like to know?
Andre.
It's not America. It's not the Soviet Union. Ask me who is to blame.
Andre.
Ask me.
Who, Andre? Who is to blame?
Switzerland.
I'm going.
No, John. Listen, let me explain. Then we can go.
You're being ridiculous.
Not if you listen. Switzerland has two things only: mountains and peace. Thousands of mountains, centuries of peace. Peaceful trees, peaceful lakes, peaceful people. You can't invade it, too many mountains. Besides, there's nothing here. Only trees and Swiss people. So what does mankind use Switzerland for? Peace conferences.
Andre.
But what happens? We sit across the table. We look very grave. We talk, we debate, we argue about imminent world destruction. But then we leave the table. We go outside. What do we see? Rich, happy, peaceful people. Unharmed buildings. No barricades, no rifles. Not even littering. We breathe air that hasn't known a war in centuries, and suddenly things look better. Why agree on a treaty now? We'll wait. I tell you, my friend, the real problem is Switzerland itself.
You always joke about these matters.
Who is joking? We should put the table at the bottom of a missile silo, then we would negotiate. I have seriously suggested this to my superiors.
What did they say?
They said to stop joking.
May I ask you a personal question?
Of course.
Why in heaven's name haven't you been replaced?
Yeah, Mr. McIntyre also asked me this question.
What's the answer?
You've done your research, I presume? Perhaps you should tell me.
You're a very good negotiator. That's why they keep you. You can say no longer than other people. You can say it with a frown. You can say it with a smile. You can say no and still be so charming, we'll think you said yes. You dress well. You speak English well. You're good with the media. Most of all, you know how to take orders, at least when it really counts. And the orders are nearly always the same. Say no. And look good doing it. They keep you here because you give them something special. Not just a man who says no, but a personality.
Is that how I am seen? How very flattering.
I've done other research. Want to hear?
Certainly. I love to hear about me.
In your private conversations, you are less dependable. It's believed your leaders worry quite a bit over your congeniality towards Westerners. You have a penchant for changing the subject. You contradict yourself. You deliberately misunderstand things. Your behavior is sometimes seen as childish.
Childish?
Mr. McIntyre wasn't sure if you were in complete control of these conversational gambits. He wondered if they weren't genuine liabilities that would grow worse with time and destroy your effectiveness. But do you know what I think? You know what my personal opinion is?
What?
That you are in full control of what you're doing, both formally and informally. That the very word effectiveness in your mind means obstruction. That you, and perhaps your country, are fundamentally dedicated to not finding a significant agreement.
You are very blunt. But this is refreshing. Please go on. You're doing so well.
I'm not the only one in my country with this opinion. The fact is, I was appointed for this job precisely because it was thought only someone with my special talents could work with you at all.
Special talents. Yes, I must admit we were very impressed when you were chosen. A man with no experience in Geneva.
I've had experience elsewhere.
At the lower level.
And was effective.
A man who speaks only English.
I speak technical Russian.
No one speaks technical Russian. It's like saying I speak algebra. A man who...
You're ignoring one positive.
There is a positive.
I am an extremely effective negotiator. That doesn't mean that I say no well. That means that I say yes well. at the right time, when the right work's been done. When I negotiate, I find an agreement.
So you think that we will agree, eh? Eventually.
Yes, we will.
Well, perhaps you are right. But tell me something, even if we do agree, do you think it will matter? Do you like the mountain air? I don't. I come from Leningrad, sea air. That is air you could feel. It has weight. This air is too thin, too sterile.
Too healthy, you mean?
Only oxygen. It's not enough. You know, I have breathed the air in many places.
Andre, I am not interested in the air you have breathed. I'm interested in creating an agreement. Nothing else. And yes, I do believe it's going to matter. I think you'll be surprised, in fact, how much it does matter. Now, I'm going to go back, not because I feel defeated or hopeless. I'm going back because I feel we've done as much as we can do today, and tomorrow, over a table, we'll do more. And I'm going whether you come along or not.
I would love to go now. I'm glad you suggested it.
Do we understand each other?
What do you mean?
Do we understand each other? I want to feel this conversation has served a purpose.
Really? Why?
Because all conversations should.
They should.
Yes, they should. Do we understand each other?
Of course we do. We are friends.
No, we are not friends.
We're becoming friends.
We're not becoming friends.
Of course we are.
Andre, we have just... Do you know what they call you in the American delegation? The crab. Not because you're mean or irritable, because you never go in a straight line.
Are those Italian shoes?
Don't talk about my shoes.
They are Italian.
They're French.
French shoes. Who would buy French shoes? I could get you good
I'm
Italian
happy with the shoes I have, thank you.
You know, you have great personal charm. You're much warmer than McIntyre.
I am much more persistent than McIntyre. I'm here to make a treaty with you, not a friendship. You can behave as erratically as you like. My offer stands. Work with me, please.
Where do you get your ties?
I'm going.
Wonderful. We're doing so well together. When can we take another walk?
Never?
Never. Are you sure, my friend?
I'm sure.
Very well. Whatever you say. After all, we are here to agree.
Department is not going to be patient with us. We made this proposal months ago. Since then, you've done nothing but argue over detail.
We are making a careful examination.
You're stalling. You're using a tiny point to hold up a major agreement.
You're tiny to you.
Tiny to anyone. You want to know what the president thinks? He phoned me twice this week. He flew me home last week. What's wrong with Botvinnik, he asks. Has he said no so many times he's forgotten how to say yes? Well, have you?
You have an amusing president. I hope he does well in the election.
Whether he wins or loses will have no effect on our proposal.
Perhaps. Come, sit down. Relax.
You're purposely holding off, aren't you?
Well,
the more time you waste hoping for a slight advantage from our elections, the colder this proposal gets.
so don't have so many elections. Look at how bright the leaves are. I was glad when you asked me to take this walk. You said we would never do it again. But here we are.
You're not going to exploit our political process.
Your political process exploits itself. So does ours. How does your side act when our leaders are old and sick? Do you rush into negotiations? No, you wait. You should wait.
So when do we negotiate agreements? When there isn't a president up for election? When there isn't a Soviet leader in bad health? How often is that?
Now and then.
Now and then. You want to discuss the life or death of this planet now and then.
You think it should be more often?
This is our best proposal to date. The president has dedicated himself to the image of a peacemaker. He wants to do some lasting work. You should take advantage of that.
I'm as sorry for the delay as you. But you must understand, our leaders are naturally careful. The experience of the war was
That was 40 years ago.
But still.
But nothing, it's a dead issue. Your country has made a state religion out of what is essentially smugness. No one suffered the way we suffered. 20 million died.
20 million did die.
80 million died all over the world. Everybody suffered. The Soviet government has no more right than anyone else to preach absolutes because of it.
This is marvelous. I was pleased when you suggested a walk, but to find such emotion, oh, this is very wonderful. Thank you.
Don't digress.
I'm sorry.
My point is, any past horror, any breakdown of civilization can be used for decades thereafter by an unscrupulous government to frighten the population into impotence and obedience.
And that is what we have done?
Yes, it is. Aren't you going to disagree?
Maybe later. Go on, please.
So anyway, I feel the excuse that your leaders are overcautious because of the experience of World War II is a cynical, self-serving, and manipulative lie. And an outdated lie at that. And I wish you wouldn't do it anymore.
Very well. In our private conversation, I will not speak of it again.
Well, fine. Thank you.
Don't mention it.
You know, I don't think your government appreciates the
Tell
seriousness
me, what
of...
kind of leaf is this?
Andre,
Just what kind, please?
that's a linden.
Linden, very nice. Botany, that's your hobby. Oh, I remember from our reports on you. Yellow as sunlight, huh? Do you have these in Wisconsin?
Yes, we call it basswood.
Basswood. Like the fish?
I don't know. Andre, I may have been a little harsh just now,
It is
but
my great regret I have never visited your country.
Thank you. All I was trying to say was
Your
that if you
home
don't-
city. What is it? Warsaw.
Wausau.
Warsaw.
No. Wausau. Wausau, Wisconsin. Andre, if I was...
Warsaw.
Andre.
I think I have it now. Warsaw.
Wausau! It's Wausau! You can say it. You speak English perfectly.
I was only trying...
You're only trying to irritate me, I can see that. But why? Do you feel it gives you the upper hand? It doesn't. If these talks fail, we both look bad. You realize that, don't you?
I have failed before.
I haven't. What about this tiny point? When can we expect movement from your side?
After your election.
That's 5 weeks from now.
We can only go so fast. We have hawks and doves, just like you. Sometimes the hawks eat a few doves.
This is ludicrous. The president won't accept this.
You'll have no choice.
What if we force the matter?
You could lose the whole proposal.
Of course, you have to say that.
You'll lose the proposal. A frustrating business, yes?
Quiet, please.
You're upset? Perhaps you would like to be alone?
I can go back now. Excuse me.
Andre,
Yes?
if we go back so soon, the reporters might think we're in trouble on this.
We are in trouble on this.
There's no need for them to think so.
I thought you believed in freedom of the press.
Don't be cute. Come back and sit down.
What shall we talk about?
We don't have to talk about anything. We just have to wait here a decent amount of time.
How are we doing?
You could use your influence, you know. They listen to you about these things.
Not always.
Sometimes, so why not talk to them?
It can be risky. It could put me out of fashion with the leadership.
Out of fashion?
It's not an insignificant risk.
Could anything induce you to take that risk?
Is this a bribe?
No.
Too bad. I never accept bribes. But I love to know what's being offered.
I mean, is there anything we can do to convince you to help? That's all I mean.
What can the Americans do to make me want to take chances with my career?
Yes?
Absolutely nothing. Now ask me what you can do.
You just said we can't do anything.
No, you. John Honeyman, what can you do to get me to help? Ask me that.
What can... What is there I can do?
Are you sure you want to know?
Yes, I want to know.
Are you completely sure?
Tell me, what can I do?
Be frivolous with me.
Frivolous?
Yes. Frivolous.
What does frivolous mean?
It's your language.
I know that, I just
Don't you know the word?
Of course I know the word. It's just that a word
may have many meanings.
Exactly.
What do you think I mean by frivolous? Do you think I mean playful, irrelevant, unimportant, superficial, with unbecoming levity? I'm sorry. To me, frivolous means not serious.
Not serious. That's all. Just not serious.
That's all.
You want to have a frivolous conversation. And for that, you would be willing to try and influence your superiors? If I gave you that? Why?
Nothing else is interesting to me. Whenever I speak with Americans, they always ask, what about war? What about Afghanistan? What about cruise missiles? It is no longer interesting to me.
But what about cruise missiles? I'm sorry.
I hear certain words, whether I say them or someone else says them. Words like détente, human rights, Star Wars, Central America, readiness, early warning. I feel like I'm falling away from the Earth. Well, I can see the Earth, the entire planet, like I am a cosmonaut. And it is falling away from me. We are both simply receding into the dark. Sometimes I spend entire conversations in this kind of darkness while I am hearing words like summit, test ban, immigration, strategic objectives. It's almost as though the words are printed on the dark walls all around me, and the Earth by then is like a fingertip. It is so far away. Does this ever happen to you?
No.
Perhaps it will someday. In any case, you must forgive me. This does not happen at the table. There I listen very carefully. There I pretend we're discussing a different planet from Earth, and that helps very much.
Andre.
Receptions, dinner parties, that's where it happens. I hear all those serious words. Lasers, megadeaths, acceptable losses. Do you know what I'm dying to hear an American talk about? Mickey Mouse. Cowboys. How to make a banjo.
I don't...
Minnie Mouse. Anything that is not serious.
I can't talk about Minnie Mouse with you.
But that is my price for helping you. For doing what I can.
You want to be frivolous.
Very much.
I'm disappointed by this. I thought you were more professional.
This is professional. This is how to survive as a professional.
Fine.
Let's survive them. Frivolously. What should we talk about?
Whatever you like.
You decide. It's your idea.
Very well done. Let me see. Do you like country and western music?
Honestly.
Of course, honestly. Why hide anything? We're being frivolous.
Yes, I do like it.
Wonderful. So do I. It's very anti-Soviet, but nothing is perfect. Blue eyes crying in the rain. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful song. Very sad. It could have been Russian.
Maybe.
Have you ever slept with a redhead?
No.
Neither have I. It is a great regret. You say something.
Me?
Yes.
What should I say?
Anything, whatever is on your mind.
Right. Well, let's see.
Sometimes I notice when we're discussing space weapons technology.
No.
I only meant when we're discussing space weapons technology.
No, you're too serious.
Even to mention it on the way to something else.
Too serious.
Sorry.
No problem. Try again. Be trivial.
Well, let's see. Okay,
I hate brown suits. And what?
You hate brown shirts and...
And nothing. I hate brown suits, that's all. What's wrong? Isn't that trivial enough?
There's a difference between trivial and boring.
That's not boring.
Of course it is. I hate brown shirts.
It's no more boring than you're liking Willie Nelson.
It is.
It is not.
You're just not good at this. Admit it.
I can be as trivial as the next person. You never said I had to be trivial and entertaining at the same time.
It goes without saying.
It does not.
No, you're just arguing with me.
I'm not arguing.
You are.
Kindly stop telling me what I am and am not doing.
That was very good. Tell me another trivial thing.
I can't.
Of course you can. You must if we are to have any fun.
I am not having fun.
Be patient. You stay here long enough, the only thing you'll be able to enjoy is a totally meaningless conversation.
Have you failed that much here? I'm sorry. I can't be frivolous anymore.
What can I do? He refuses to humor me. Such a small price that he will not pay. I'm beginning to miss Mr. McIntyre.
All I know is, considering who we are and where we are and what we've been sent here to do, it is literally wasting the world's time for us to be anything but deadly serious with each other.
Wasting the world's time. I like that.
Don't grade my phrase making. Talk to me.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Too boring.
You know, it's a shame those tears of yours can't be real.
What if I talk seriously to you and you don't enjoy it?
if it's serious, I'll enjoy it.
You will, eh?
Yes.
Very well, then. I will now present to you my serious thoughts on the subject. Well, let's see. Of the character of the Russian and American people.
I don't think
That
that's
is my topic. It is fundamental. Do you object?
Not as long as you're serious.
Deadly. Good. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference between Russians and Americans. There is a great difference bet Yes or no?
Well, yes, there is no difference.
I will prove it. If the Russians and not the English had come to America, what would they have done?
They would have set up a
They would have killed all the Indians and taken all the land. See? No difference. Americans and Russians are just the same. But their history is different. What is history? History is geography over time. The geography of America is oceans, therefore no nearby enemies. The geography of Russia is the opposite. Flat, broad plains. Open invitations to anyone who wants to attack. Mongols, French, Germans, Poles, Turks, Swedes, anyone. Do you agree with this? Well, of course you do. It is obviously true.
Andre,
Quiet. I am being serious. So what is the history of America? Conquest without competition. What is the history of Russia? Conquest because of competition. How best to be America? Make individual freedom your God. This allows you to attack on many fronts, all along your borders, in fact, and maintain the illusion that you are not attacking at all. You don't even have to call your wars wars. You call them settling the West.
That is a gross
Don't
misreading.
interrupt. How best to be Russia, then? Fight collectively. Know that you're trying to crush those around you. Make control your God and channel the many wills of the people into one will. Only this will be effective. Only this will defeat your neighbors.
I'm leaving now.
You can't. This is what you want.
I wanted a conversation.
So what is the result of all of this history and geography? Why are the Russians and Americans people who have done the same thing? Create and maintain empires. Why are we now enemies to the death?
We're not
We
enemies.
are enemies! Because Americans, who never had to confront themselves as conquerors, are still under the delusion that they are idealists. And Russians, who did have to confront themselves, are under the equally powerful delusion that they are realists. I am speaking now of those in power. Common Americans and common Russians share a much simpler delusion, that they are peace-loving people.
This is profoundly cynical.
Thank you. I like to be clear-eyed. You cannot work at this job as long as I have without realizing no one wants you to succeed, not even the man on the street.
How on earth can you think that?
Go to the street, ask the man. Ask him, do you want to get rid of all nuclear weapons right now? Of course, he will say yes. Then ask, are you willing to give up your country's power, prestige, and predominance in the world? He will say no. But the two questions are the same. Without nuclear weapons, our empires would no longer be empires. They would simply be countries among other countries.
Powerful country.
But not superpowers. We are too used to dominating, John. We will never give that up.
There are other ways to be superpower.
Without nuclear weapons, we will be nothing more than a rich, powerful Canada and an enormous Poland. There is a more important reason as well.
Which is?
The most exciting thing in the world is to know that we can destroy the world. Like that. In a day. To know the bombs and the soldiers are in place. Their hands at the controls, the computers constantly running, monitoring, ready. We have never known such excitement. Alexander, Napoleon, Hitler would give up all their conquests just to live in a world where such destruction is possible. Man has worked a long time for this. He is an animal who must fulfill every potential, even the potential to kill himself, even the potential to kill everything else.
It's simple-minded to say just because man can kill himself, that's what he's going to do.
It is. Look at the money, time, and energy our governments put into making ready for war. What do we put into making ready for peace? You and me. That's all.
Governments have always armed themselves to the teeth. But mankind truly does hate war.
If mankind hated war, there'd be millions of us and only 2 soldiers. Is this a serious enough conversation for you? Do you want to go on?
Not really.
Perhaps we should go back then.
Wait, yes.
What will you do about helping him?
Nothing, of course.
Why not? I met your condition. I talked about trivial things.
Brown suits? That was pitiful.
I'll try again.
You're no good at it. You have no need for it.
I'll develop the need.
Over time, yes. But now it only makes you uncomfortable.
Help us anyway.
Why should I?
For the sake of peace.
What kind of peace? Peace where you dominate? Peace where we dominate.
Peace where we share. You say that man has to fulfill every potential, that he's that kind of animal? But he has other potentials, not just destructiveness. Andre, man has the potential to become a whole new animal. One that trusts instead of fears. One that agrees when it makes sense to agree. It finds a way to live. Because life has become for him, has finally become a sacred thing.
Only a child could believe this.
I believe it.
Good. You will always be young.
Andre, do you think it's a virtue to have been here as long as you have? Do you think cynicism is some sort of glorious end product of your time here? You know, it's just as possible that I'm the one who sees clearly, not you, precisely because I haven't been here, slowly going blind from my failures. Andre, we have no choice. If we don't believe in our ability to save ourselves, then everything dies. Everything. All through history, man has been able to love destruction and be excited by violence, because no matter what stupid, gaping terror he created, it was always survivable. But no more. If we fail now, history itself will disappear. Time will stop. There will be no right way to think or feel, because there won't be anybody here to have thoughts or feelings. There will be no here. Idealism is no longer a choice for mankind. It's a necessity. We have to find whatever crumbs of pure goodwill exist in us. We have to feed whatever tiny inclination we have towards each other. We have to start with the bare fact that there are 2 of us here, at least. That underneath whatever motivations bring us here, hate, fear, gain, whatever, there is something that will ultimately save us. What? Recognition. We look across the table and we see ourselves. Andre, help me.
Do you know what they think of initiative in my country?
Even now, with the new openness?
Police.
Your leaders respect your opinion.
Because I keep it to myself.
Help me.
No.
You owe it to yourself to push your leaders for an agreement.
Ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. I push my leaders constantly. I've been arguing with the administration for weeks. The president is already sorry he appointed me.
So am I.
The president is considering making our proposal public.
He wouldn't.
I've told him
That
not
would
to.
end the proposal.
I know.
We would have no choice but to reject
I
it.
know. But that's how strongly he feels. Plus, he's worried about the election. He thinks it might enhance his position if he announced our peace efforts.
So this is what from you, a threat?
It's not a threat, it's a...
Promise.
He needs a gesture from you. Movement on something, anything, big, small, it doesn't matter. Something that will give him faith.
He needs us to give him faith? Really?
I thought you wanted to be my friend.
I am your friend.
No, you're not. Not unless you do this for me. I swear, Andre, if you don't push for this right now, you and I will never be friends. I will be stiffer and stuffier than anyone you have ever dealt with. I will out-McIntyre McIntyre.
This is not fair.
It's my price for friendship. Will you pay it?
All right. I will suggest that we not wait for the election. That we treat your proposal more seriously.
Thank you.
That's all I will do. Suggest it once, lightly.
Thank you very much.
Don't mention it.
You know, I think we're beginning to get along.
You do you?
Yes. I mean, here we are, agreeing on something.
You think you did it all by yourself?
Not by myself.
John Honeyman, the great convincer, send him to Switzerland and peace will follow.
I didn't mean that.
Yes, you did. But think what you like. I am helping you for one reason only. It might be entertaining.
Entertaining?
But I doubt it.
Shall I come with you?
No, since we're agreeing to do this, we should come back separately. It will confuse the reporters.
Thank you.
No, thank you. In the woods.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then I won't.
A Walk in the Woods will continue after this brief intermission. The presentation of American Playhouse is made possible by the nation's public television stations, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the National Endowment for the Arts, and by the Chubb Group of insurance companies, for over 100 years providing business and personal insurance worldwide through independent agents and brokers.
Would highways be safer if cities and towns were liable for deaths on poorly maintained roads? Can taxpayers afford it? That story tomorrow at 7 on Chicago Tonight.
A mother's dreams, a son's ambition, a family's anguish and triumph.
I'm gonna put on a show!
American Playhouse presents Danny Glover and Esther Roll in Lorraine Hansberry's masterpiece that cuts to the heart of the American dream, A Raisin in the Sun.
See A Raisin in the Sun, Saturday at 7. Chicago's weather tonight, fair and cold, lows in the upper 30s inland, the middle 40s along the lake. Thursday, continued sunny and cool, high in the lower 60s, cooler near the lake. Currently 52 degrees.
That way. He's over there.
Where?
There, by that log. Right underneath.
You mean this? Well, down, the trundle.
What? Andre?
He ran right by me. He got away. I'm too old for this. I used to be able to catch them every time.
You did? Alone?
Of course, alone. You must catch a rabbit alone, otherwise there's no challenge. If there was snow, I would have seen his tracks. I would have had him. Oh.
Are you all right?
It's nothing. A muscle. I'm sorry. Did this surprise you?
A little.
I always tried to catch rabbits. I used to anyway when I was a boy.
You did? Why?
It was fun. I was very fast once, really. I chased them all the time. It became a reflex. Yeah. Whenever I was out walking, if I saw a rabbit, push, into the woods. And today, to come here and see a rabbit on the bench, sitting here, I couldn't help myself. You understand?
Certainly.
I caught a lot of them when I was young. But finally I stopped.
Why?
The war came. We couldn't leave Leningrad. I caught rats instead for food. But that's the war. You do not wish to mention the war. So I'm sorry. I shut up, yes? It's pretty out here this time of year. Away from that little room. Months and months in that same room, negotiating.
Don't complain. You've had the last 2 weeks in Moscow.
You think they don't have little rooms in Moscow? No, this is the best, to be outdoors. It improves the concentration, I think, to get away, to sit quietly at the world.
How was Moscow?
Huh?
Moscow, how was it? You had some fairly important meetings there. I thought you asked me out here so you could fill me in.
Huh? Oh, yes, I did.
So?
What?
Fill me in.
You want to start right now?
Why not?
It's just that it's so good to be here again, among the trees.
Is anything wrong?
Huh? No,
You seem a little distracted.
I'm not. I'm completely concentrated.
It's just that you seem
How
a
I
little bit...
seem is not important. How I am is important, yes?
How are you?
I should have caught that rabbit.
Andre.
When I was a boy, people were amazed at me. Amazed, so quick, they would say, he catches them with his bare hands. When was the last time we were here?
A month ago?
A month ago. What did we talk about?
Modifying negotiation procedures, Soviet-American relations, and Babe Ruth.
Ah, the babe. The Sultan of Swat.
Andre!
Magnificent athlete, larger than life.
Would you mind if we didn't start with the frivolous side of things today?
You don't want to?
No.
Why not?
Because you have news for me. You've been in Moscow. You're back now. You have news. I want to hear it.
What if it's not good news?
I want to hear it. Your government rejected our proposal, didn't they?
Not exactly.
What do you mean?
They didn't reject your proposal itself. They rejected what your president turned the proposal into. Which is, in their words, a cynical public relations scheme.
Not a cynical public
It is.
relations.
From the moment he announced it to the world.
He had to announce it.
Why? When we had not agreed to it yet.
You never agreed to anything. You accepted one small point before our elections, and since then, nothing. Zero. No movement all winter. He couldn't wait any longer.
You should have stopped him.
I tried. I argued him out of going public with this 3 times in the last 5 months. You know that.
You should have argued again.
I did, but I was running out of ammunition.
So in one speech, he destroys all the work we have done. Good, fine. Why not?
You're the ones who destroyed it by delay.
Delay does not destroy agreements. One can always renew efforts. But to announce the proposal,
He had the
he
right.
bears the responsibility.
For what? For telling the world? Why is that so terrible?
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, tell me, why is it so bad if the world knows what we're discussing?
Because it makes us look like fools. If we accept your proposal now, what will the rest of the world say? Ah, the Americans have finally thought of a clever plan. Thank God the unimaginative Russians have agreed.
The rest of the world, if they said anything, would say, at last, 2 maniacs have had a moment of sanity.
Yes, they would say that, too. But first they would say it is an American peace, an American security.
Who cares whose peace it is?
You do. You do not want a Russian peace. 2 years ago, we announced to the world a plan of our own, just as good as yours, and you rejected it.
There were significant problems with that plan.
Yes, it was ours. Now, John, please stop pretending. You know neither of our countries can afford to be second in the quest for peace.
What quest for peace? At this rate, there is no quest for peace.
But there is the quest for the appearance of the quest for peace. These are negotiations, John. There are rules, there are forms. You know them as well as I do. Your president knows them too. When he announced the proposal, he knew we would have to reject it.
Why did your government delay so long? What was it about the proposal you objected to?
Why go into it?
It's our job. Was it the total number of warheads, John? Was it?
No.
The percentage of land-based missiles?
No.
Data exchange? On-site inspection?
It's useless.
I want to know. Cruise missile reduction? Mobile missile verification?
Not really.
The testing moratorium? The research question?
No.
BMD restrictions? The ASAT provisions?
It wasn't any
C-cubed
of them.
issues? SLBMs? MX?
No, not MX, or SLBMs, or SLCMs, or SDI, or FBS, or CEP, or SALT, or SALT, or any of them. We had no objections to anything in your proposal. Do you understand? Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. We liked the whole proposal.
I don't understand. You liked it?
Very much.
Then why did you delay so long?
Because your proposal was too good.
Too good.
Oh, it could have led to real arms reductions. Serious ones.
Don't you want that?
Of course. But also, we are afraid of it.
Why? It's a treaty. We've made treaties before.
Look at those treaties, John. They aren't treaties. They're blueprints. We determine what weapons we'll build over the next few years, and then we agree to let each other build them. We get rid of small systems so we can keep bigger ones. We trade obsolete technology for state-of-the-art. We take weapons out of Europe so we can put up new ones in space. And then we say to the world, see, we are capable of restraint. Here is a small step forward. It is laughable.
But it is a step forward. Every treaty is. Each time we come stumbling to an agreement, even if it's self-serving, even if it's flawed, that's progress.
It is not progress to take a step and slide back 3. Every 10 years we wake up and we say it is time to take the first step. But meanwhile, we have spent a decade creating bargaining chips. New weapons built expressly so they can be bargained away later. And what is the result? We build and get rid of bargaining chips, nothing more. The real arsenals remain untouched. In fact, they grow.
You're right. Each day, each month, each year, someone is proposing a new weapon system. Someone is securing the grant for more research, dreaming up a new technology that will do God knows what destruction to our economies, if nothing else. How, knowing that, can we let any opportunity slip through our fingers? Especially this opportunity, this treaty, these comprehensive reductions, these real reductions.
I know, but we have problems with reductions such as these.
What are they?
We don't trust you.
You don't trust us.
Do you trust us?
Yes. Well, we try to. But whether we trust each other or not, this proposal has provisions. It has safeguards.
We don't trust the safeguards.
There are checks on the safeguards, verification.
We don't trust them.
Andre.
Even if there were checks, we wouldn't trust
Why
them.
not?
Because we don't trust you. Who knows what you are making right now that lies outside this proposal?
We're not
Multiple
making any...
warheads? Star Wars? These things came after treaties were signed, not before.
We can control new technologies together.
Can we? How can you be sure of what is going on in your own country right now? Do you think they tell you everything? Face it, John. You can't even completely trust your side, and you want to trust ours?
We can
Suppose
work
we
these
sign an agreement, and the next day, you or we suddenly unveil a new weapon. What happens? Immediately, a new arms race.
Even if you're right. You're not, but even if you were...
I am right. I am always right. And how do we appear to the rest of the world? There's 2 warmongers who can't keep a treaty. If, however, we have never agreed on a treaty, then when a new technology comes along, we are simply two nations who are trying to make a treaty, but who must remain prepared for war. It creates a much better impression.
Looking for peace and purposely never finding it?
Better for everyone. Broken treaties make people too nervous, yeah?
So this makes your job and my job what? Sort of nuclear nightlight? Providing no real hope, just the...
Appearance, yes.
And this is what you truly think is preferable?
Not I, my leaders, your leaders.
How long do they think this is supposed to go on?
Until the world ends.
Which could be tomorrow? Andre, it is no argument to say that we can't negotiate because we don't trust each other. That should be just what spurs us on. The need to develop better systems of trust, to combat each new weapon system in turn. For every new weapon system, a new trust system.
I agree.
You do? Well, good.
The only problem is one of pace.
Pace? What do you mean?
We are diplomats.
Negotiators.
The negotiators, we work at a certain pace. We build trust. Genuine trust. It takes decades. In that time, weapons makers create 2 or 3 new waves of nuclear arms. Each new wave pushes us farther back. Who is ready to say, put these weapons on hold, but Vinnick and Honeyman almost trust each other? Meanwhile, with each new wave, the warning time gets shorter, from an hour to half an hour, to 20 minutes, to 10, 5, 4, to finally no warning at all. No chance to react. Missiles may fly over at any time. Who can stand the responsibility? In the end, we won't be consulted when war begins. Not even our leaders will be. The computer will declare war on another computer because the computer got nervous.
And you and I will die here in mid-sentence.
Right between the words arms and control. It is not that you and I are failing to make progress. It is that those who build arms make so much progress.
There has to be a way to formulate an agreement that takes this into account.
Oh, you want to take irrationality into account. Now, very good. I applaud this. But I warn you, no government has ever been rational even about conventional weapons. And you expect them to be rational about nuclear ones.
Governments can learn to be rational.
Impossible. They are all too irrational. All of them. And all of them are getting nuclear weapons.
Once we only had to be rational in English and Russian. Now we must do it in Hebrew, Hindi, Afrikaans.
These countries look to us to show the way. What do we teach? Never look back. Never give up your nuclear threat. My friend, it is all irrationality.
It's not all irrational.
What do you know about it? I've been here for years. I've seen how it works.
You hate this more than I do, don't you?
Of course not. It is not a matter of hate.
Sounded like hate to me.
I gave up hate long ago, and now only study these things.
You study them pretty hard.
I have much experience.
You have much anger. That's what you have.
Anger is useless to a diplomat.
Then why do you feel
I
it?
do not feel anger.
Sounded like anger to me.
This is not anger.
This is careful study, nothing more.
I must be mistaken.
Yes, you must.
Well, I won't accuse you anymore of being human.
Thank you.
It is now time to talk about something besides negotiation.
Are you sure? It's just that if we're both feeling the same frustration, maybe we should be looking
When
for a way.
two men are dying of cancer, what do they discuss? Cancer? No, it's bad taste. They talk about something else.
Andre, we have a function here.
Yes, and now you know what it is. It is not always pleasant to discover what you were meant for.
sorry.
Sorry. For what? For beating me? It's your job. I'm glad to see you're finally getting the hang of it.
I think the answer lies in resisting. Resisting irrationality.
No one could do that. The fear is too great. The temptation is too great.
I did it. I did. Before coming here, they sent me on a tour. An overview, really. You know, spend a little time with the military, get a sense of how much we've invested, look over the hardware, hopefully fall in love with it.
And did you?
I was touring ICBM sites in North Dakota. Just riding around, staring down into holes all day at these huge, shiny, perfect things. These missiles.
And you fell in love?
On our way back, we stopped for gas. We were in a small town called Rugby. And right there, next to the highway, was a little stone monument. It marked the exact geographical center of North America. The whole damn continent. This was the center.
Is it a significant place?
It's meaningless. Just endless, flat landscape. But we had put all these missiles there. Right in the dead, blank heart of the continent. In the center. In an emptiness. In our emptiness. And I liked it. It filled something up. I wanted there to be more missiles.
You are a very honest man.
But I thought about it. I thought about it until I knew I couldn't afford that feeling ever again in my life.
And what about honesty?
Is it honest for an addict to use a drug just because he wants it? Is it honest for us to have missiles because on some level we want missiles? No, we resist. We reason ourselves out of it.
Just as the addict reasons himself out of the drug?
It can be done.
Certainly.
I've done it. You've done it.
Perhaps, but who is listening to us? Now, the sad fact is, you and I were meant for nothing more than playing games in the woods.
We are not meant for playing games in the woods.
We are. Thank goodness we're friends, yes? Otherwise, it would be intolerable.
It is intolerable, and we're not friends. My God, this isn't a friendship. How can two people who have nothing to do be friends? They can't even be people. I thought when I came here that I was going to have some influence. That what I said or did was going to affect somebody, someplace. But obviously that's not the case. Obviously I'm not here at all, right? And if I'm not here, God knows where you are. You've been a non-entity a lot longer than I have. You've got the act down pat. You don't want a friend. You want someone to be dead with. I wish at least that you had fought for this proposal.
I fought.
I can imagine.
I fought. Even though I knew they would not accept it, even though it was dangerous, I fought anyway.
Oh, you did you? Why?
Because I like you. Whether I'm dead or not. Besides, it was a good proposal. I will miss it.
There's something I'd like you to look over.
What is it?
The proposal. The very same proposal. With a few cosmetic changes, that's all.
So?
What if I can get the president to offer it again? Secretly. The same plan for an agreement, only with a new name. A few insignificant points altered to save face for both countries. Would your side be interested in that?
Who told you to do this?
No one. It's my own idea.
We can get in trouble for this.
I don't care.
You? You never give up, do you?
This is not an insignificant point.
What? Of course it is.
I do not think it is insignificant.
Well, fine. Change it back then. The point is, we may still
I
be...
don't have a pen.
The point is, we may still be able to salvage this plan. After all, what are facilitators, right? Our whole job is to help two giants come to grips with each other. If we could just... What are you changing now?
You'll see.
If we can just hold these ideas together, we might make some progress here. If I can get this to the president directly before Defense and State pull their usual... Are you through?
Almost. Japanese? Very nice. Want to see?
Okay. Okay. This one's okay.
Only okay. I think it is very nice.
It's okay. It was better before.
Oh, no. It was...
What do you think?
This would be all right. I think I could get the president's approval for this. Would you take it to your side?
As your proposal?
As anyone's proposal. As nobody's proposal.
But here it is, a paper in our hand.
A non-paper. No addresses, no signatures, just something that's there for both sides to examine. Privately.
I'm walking on eggs just now at home.
I realize that.
They think I have been awfully active this year. But I could try.
Thank you. Well, we should get back, huh?
Things have not gone smoothly with this proposal.
We should get this into both languages.
We have had
before
a difficult time over this, haven't we?
Pretty difficult. Yes, come on. We can
Glad
still...
it has been difficult. It allows you to feel something.
What?
The disappointment. I think my leaders may accept this now.
Good. That would be wonderful.
I think perhaps your side will reject it.
Our own plan.
Nobody's plan.
Why should we?
You want rationality? You and I only make recommendations. Our leaders must make decisions. Perhaps some decisions are too big to make.
Someone has to make them.
Maybe you are right. Maybe your president will embrace this plan. All things are possible while we are still alive, yeah?
He will embrace it. I'll convince him.
Of course.
You'll see. I think you're going to be very surprised this time, Andre. Very surprised indeed. I can convince him.
Hope is a true miracle. Is it not?
So is trust.
Well, we should be going back. It's getting cold.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
Indeed. Come, it's important we go back together today. Why? Because we don't often do that, and they will be confused.
This will be the last one. This will be the final glorious time.
It needed a little blue, don't you think?
I suppose
What is this flower called, this blue one?
it's called a flower.
No. What would a botanist call it?
A flower.
No. If he had to designate it for another scientist.
A flower.
The woods are filled with them. It's very beautiful this time of year, don't you think?
Aren't you even a little bit angry?
I remember the first time my leader said no to an agreement I had worked out. It was with Mr. McIntyre's predecessor,
Mr. Sand?
Yes, Mr. Sand. He and I worked a very long time on that one. We both had such large dreams. We were both new. Each of us so eager, so overjoyed at the creativity of our solutions. We marched out of this very woods and told the world. A major arms reduction, we said. And path to sanity. Of course, 4 weeks later, our governments politely suggested we had overstepped our authority. Go back to the table, work a little more, they said, and stay out of the woods. This proposal didn't do so badly. At least it was 6 weeks before your president said...
He looked me straight in the eye and said, don't try so hard.
Don't try so hard. It was only a euphemism.
For what?
For don't try at all. Really, you must control yourself. Switzerland has strict laws about littering.
I know.
They're terribly compulsive about it. It can be quite risky to throw things.
I know. I was almost arrested for it this morning.
You what? Really? Tell me about it.
I don't want to talk about it. It's a pointless story.
Oh, please tell me. An arrest in Switzerland? Oh, wonderful.
It was nothing. I threw a gum wrapper on the sidewalk. Really, there are more important things to talk about.
Not today. Please, let's take advantage of this exquisite time when everything has broken down. Tell me your pointless story.
Why?
It will be such a relief
For who?
for you.
It was nothing. I threw this wrapper, and suddenly there was a very old man beside me grabbing me. I thought he was a lunatic. He was yelling at me in German. Why did he yell in German? Do I dress like a German? He was trying to make me stop. I speeded up. I didn't know who he was.
He could have been a very old terrorist.
Why am I telling this?
Because it is crucial. Go on.
He yelled at me louder, in French this time. I stopped and stared at him. I didn't say anything. I just stared. He went right on yelling, only he switched to Italian. This went on for a solid minute, like I was his bad child, all in Italian. Finally, I broke in. I said, I don't speak Italian, and he went back to French.
No.
Yes, I said, I don't speak French, and he went back to German.
Really?
Yes, so I yelled back at him, I don't speak French, German, or Italian. I'm an American, damn it. What the hell do you want? And he turned and pointed at my gum wrapper. And then I saw he was a cop. He was a Swiss policeman.
Oh, dear.
I didn't realize it at first. He had his hat in his hand, and he was so old. But there he was in a uniform. He must have been going to his own retirement party.
Swiss police are very official.
And he tried to drag me back to this gum wrapper. He literally tried to drag me. I said, tell me what you want. He said, Aufheben. The paper. Aufheben.
Pick it up.
Exactly.
And did you?
No, I didn't pick it up.
Really? Why not?
Would you?
Of course.
You'd let a little old man drag you back? A little old Swiss joke of a policeman? With people watching?
Especially with people watching.
Well, I didn't. I pulled my arm away. I wanted to say, look, I spend all day, every day, trying to prevent the total destruction of every living thing on this planet. The whole planet. Even Switzerland. I'm trying to preserve the last few precious days of life you may have coming to you. But I can't do it if I'm not allowed to throw gum wrappers on the sidewalk. Do you understand? It's too much pressure. I can't worry about everything.
But you didn't say that.
No, I said I'm a very important person.
And what did he say to you?
Aufheben!
And you said,
No. And then he tried to arrest me. He flashed his pitiful Swiss badge and put his hat on. By this time, old people were stopping and looking at me and shaking their heads as though the gum wrapper was a dead infant or something. A couple of teenagers were standing there laughing.
congratulations, an international incident.
Anyway, he tried to grab me again, and I don't know why I did this, but I actually pushed him.
No.
I don't know why I did it.
Did you hurt him?
No, he didn't even fall over. But the others, the people around us, they gasped. They literally gasped. The old cop stared at me like I was insane.
You were.
So I quick pulled out my identification and held it open and said diplomat and pointed to myself. And the cop just shrank from me. I took a step toward him and said diplomat again, and he just kept backing away. And the whole crowd backed away. I kept saying, it's all right, I'm a diplomat. But the circle of people got wider and wider, and the cop turned and walked away from me as fast as he could, and everyone else did the same. Except the two teenagers. They just stared at me. Not like they expected me to do anything, just... because I was the only thing left to look at. I've never behaved that way in public before.
You were having a bad day.
I was not having a bad day. I am turning into something here, some kind of monster. Some kind of old man pushing diplomatic monster. Some special newly created kind of thing. What are we doing here?
We are talking.
No, I mean, what on earth are we doing?
The questions you ask are too large. Let me ask a smaller one. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color?
Yes, what is it?
Why do you want to know that?
I have my reasons. Is it green, red, yellow?
I don't want to talk about this.
It's a simple question. I'm sure we can handle it.
Don't mock me.
You're offended.
Yes, I'm offended. I'm disgusted. What are we doing here?
My favorite color is blue.
Stop talking about color.
I have to talk about color.
Why?
I want to buy you a gift.
We give each other gifts all the time. That's what international negotiating teams do. Sit down, stare at each other for a couple of months, exchange gifts, and leave. Why does your delegation want to give us gifts?
No, not our delegation, just me. I want to buy you a gift.
A tie, perhaps. In a color you would like, something you would be happy to have.
Why?
Do I need a reason?
Yes.
There's a consolation prize then. Because we will never achieve a treaty.
We will achieve a treaty. Someday we will.
Very well, then a victory prize. I want to buy you a gift. What does it matter why?
It could be the difference between honoring me and humiliating
What
me.
about blue? Is blue your favorite?
No, it's not.
Brown?
Nobody's favorite color is brown.
Why do you make me guess? Tell me.
My favorite color is orange.
Orange?
Yes, orange.
You expect me to buy you an orange tie?
Don't buy me a tie. I don't want a tie.
All right, I won't.
Good.
I can see why McIntyre left.
Oh, you think he left because of me?
Who wouldn't? No one can deal with you. You take serious things lightly, light things seriously. You waste months of time. What's worse, you never even tried to be optimistic. Can't you see how killing that is?
No.
How can you be so negative?
You're the one who doesn't want a tie.
I think you were made for this place. You were born to sit and stare at the world and say no.
Why? Because I am a Russian?
Not because
That's
you're
it, isn't it? You think all Russians are alike. You think we train our children to say no at the dinner table. Yeah, do you want your food? No. Something to drink? No.
Andre?
You think we like to say no. You think we train our backsides to sit for days without paying, yes?
I'm going back now, Andre.
No.
Why not?
I have something to tell you.
What?
Guess.
No!
You are so negative. Very well, then I will tell you. I'm leaving.
What?
I'm leaving. Bye-bye.
You mean you're going back home for a week or two?
No. I'm leaving.
Your government's pulling out the delegation?
Listen to your language, John. They are staying. I, Andrei Ilovich Botvinnik, I am leaving. For good. Goodbye.
You're leaving your post?
Yes.
Why? We're in the middle of negotiations.
I will be replaced.
When are you leaving?
A week or two.
A week? How soon will you be replaced?
A month or two.
Andre.
Are you worried about delay? That is your job, delay. In all my years here, it has been one long delay. So tell me, do you have a favorite color besides orange? I would like to get you something.
A farewell gift.
Yes?
Are they making you retire?
Of course not.
Is it because you pushed for our proposal? Did you get into trouble with
You
the...
Americans always think the same thing. Kremlin intrigue, trips to Siberia. No, I merely intend to go home. It is time.
Is it a medical problem?
No.
It's just that you've seemed more distracted than usual at the sessions.
Me? What about you? Pushing old men in the street.
That was
You
a...
don't have to apologize. No, I have served many years here by doing absolutely nothing. It is now time for a new man to come and do absolutely nothing. In this way, we achieve continuity of results. So it has been very pleasurable with you. I thank you. I say goodbye.
Why are you leaving?
I told you. Shake.
Why are you leaving?
There is no real reason. I am losing concentration at the table. A little bit. My mind is beginning to wander slightly when I am there.
To wander?
More and more.
Why not take some time off? A week or two, maybe that would be...
That would do nothing. I am degenerate. It happens to everyone. Every day now, I feel like I could say anything. The worst thing at the worst moment. It's an interesting feeling. It's like my brain is drying up instead of my eyes. Work without hope is a dry thing. It is better if it's more realistic. But it is very dry. Will you miss me?
Don't go.
I have to.
Rest a little. You can come back.
The decay is inevitable.
It's not inevitable. Don't go. We're working on something here, Andre.
On what?
On
something. My God, we've established a process, the two of us. If you're replaced, that's all gone.
No, it isn't. The new man will be...
The new man will not be you.
You are very flattering. But let me make a suggestion. If you are so unhappy that I am leaving, then why don't you leave too?
Don't be ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. I go back to Leningrad, you go back to Warsaw. We are both better off.
In what way?
In every way. Listen to me. You're a good negotiator. You're smart, tough, charming. You can say no almost as well as me. They will keep you here a long time, and after long enough, you will be like I am now.
You're fine now.
I don't even remember why I'm here. Leave when I do. Otherwise, you will break down.
I won't.
This morning, you were almost arrested.
That was a freak
You
accident.
will have more of them.
What if I do? What does it matter as long as I'm here working?
Working for what? For progress? There's no progress here. Only the illusion. Every treaty we negotiated has been followed by an unprecedented arms buildup. 25 years ago, we signed our first treaty. We had a few hundred warheads each. A few hundred. Today, 13 treaties later, how many warheads do we have? 50,000. If our leaders ever do accept real cuts, it will only be to gain political advantage. When the advantage disappears, the cuts will too. There will be new weapons built. There will always be new weapons built. So listen to me. You are still young. Why grow old in this way?
Why should you care? You're leaving.
I'm still your friend.
Friends share hope.
If you go home now, you and I will never have been friends. You understand? We will have been colleagues, associates, counterparts, fellow workers on the same problem, delegates, representatives, instruments of policy. But never friends.
I am your friend.
Why? What is it that I do for you that makes you feel like a friend to me? What? Is it that we do the same thing, have the same job?
Of course not.
Then what? I don't think it's that we tell the same jokes. I don't think I tell any jokes at all, do I? I think I'm a pretty serious, stiff, even priggish type of person, wouldn't you say?
At times.
All the time. And yet you like me. You want to be my friend. Why is that, Andre? Do you want to get something from me? A bargaining advantage, perhaps?
Of course not.
You're damn right, of course not. You don't even remember why you're here. So what is it? What is the force that impels us towards each other? What is it that we recognize in each other that makes us want to be friends? What is our special handicap as negotiators?
A conscience.
A conscience. Exactly. Do you think the next two men in here will have a conscience?
I can't stay. The process of replacing me has already begun. What will you do?
Stay. Work with your replacement. Hope for progress, for good faith, for enough time. Hope that hope itself isn't some
limitless desert we're all trying to cross.
And if it is,
I'll die of hope.
I will always like you. You will always be my favorite.
So what?
Perhaps it is time to go.
Perhaps.
We are going. I'm very serious about the tie, you know. What do you say to red?
I don't want to tie.
Red is too political. Yellow, oh, that stands for coward. You're too brave for your own good.
Andre!
Blue, blue is my favorite. That would be like forcing
No
it on.
tie, do you hear? No damn tie! If you ever try to give me a tie, I will stuff it down your goddamn fucking communist throat!
I'm sorry.
That is all right.
Sorry about communist.
No problem.
You're probably right. I'm probably crazy already.
Probably.
But I'm staying. I have hope.
You are entitled. Do you feel all right?
I'm fine.
Shall we sit for a while?
This is very nice. Sitting here in nature. I can see why you like this.
When I was young, I used to think if you ate a lot of wild things, you know, if you went into the woods and gathered things, blueberries, mushrooms, asparagus, I thought eating those things would somehow make you wild. Not wild behaving, just more a part of that world. I mean, you'd be in the woods and feel completely comfortable there. You'd be at home.
All these trees. One by one, they will be chopped down, I think. And made into negotiating tables. The talks will go on for hundreds of years. If we are lucky. Our time together, John, has been a very great failure. But a successful one. Shall we go back?
Let's stay a while.
Really? Do you want to? What do you want to talk about?
Nothing.
Stay tuned for an interview with the author of A Walk in the Woods, Lee Blessing.
Be with us next week when American Playhouse takes us to St. Louis in the 1950s for a poignant tale of a 16-year-old boy's awakening. Join us next Wednesday at 9 for Love and Other Sorrows.
As almost a tutorial sort of relationship.
You know, you caught me by surprise. It's much more touching than I thought it would be. Did you, what made you want to write a play about two arms negotiators?
It struck me that the people who are on the front line of those negotiations, who actually have to be there and present their government's opinions and their government's positions, must get tremendously frustrated, because what they're watching is two countries that are making treaties at regular intervals, but which are even so creating larger and larger nuclear stockpiles as the years go on. So they must, it simply struck me that was a very affecting sort of problem that these men must have. I have the feeling that the emotional truth of the play bears a great deal of resemblance to reality. I even got a letter from a British negotiator who was involved in a three-way negotiation, arms negotiation between Britain, the Soviet Union, and the U.S., who said that, as a matter of fact, one of the reasons these men take walks in the woods is to get away from their own staffs. You know, just take a walk in Geneva, or they take a walk out in the woods. It allows them some human contact, some commiseration, and also a sense of really trying to feel out what the other government's position might come to be. And so I have the feeling the play actually bears a lot of resemblance to reality.
You know, I found myself identifying more with the Soviet negotiator than with the American negotiator. Did you set that up on purpose?
Oh, I thought it might be useful to make the Soviet, of the two negotiators, the one who is by far the more experienced, who's older, who is a little wiser to what really happens and and how tough progress really is to make. And it was fun to make him more urbane, more socially skilled than the American. Because the fact is, there are Soviets. You know, it's just who are these things, and we tend to stereotype them so much that I thought the first thing the play should do is help us get rid of that stereotype.
What have the Soviets said? Have they seen the play here?
Some officials from the Soviet consulate at the UN, actually, that delegation did come to the Broadway opening.
Did they say anything?
I had a wonderful time. I met them at the party, and the official himself was very pleasant. He seemed to have liked the show. He wanted to be able to make sure that I understood that the show wasn't completely correct from a Soviet point of view on this and that sort of a point. But his wife, I could tell, his wife didn't speak English, but I could tell there was something in her eyes. She really did enjoy this play a great deal.
Will this play be seen in the Soviet Union?
We have plans for it to be seen. The Broadway production has been invited to perform in Moscow and in another Soviet city in May, so the third week of May.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now, are they going to see it just as we've seen it?
Oh yeah, in English. A great many Russians are learning a bit of English. You know, when I was there working on the translation in the second week of January, I went to 3 Soviet productions, all of which were in Russian and in much more Russian than I could understand. What I discovered was you get a lot from going to a play, even if you don't speak the language. And so I think there'll be some audience that will be getting translation, some audience that will be there and understand enough English, and some audience that will be there and have a good sense of what the play is about, but that won't necessarily need to speak English in order to have an interesting evening in the theater. The head of the Vakhtangov Theater in Moscow, who is himself an older Soviet actor, wishes to do the play in Russian in the fall.
Isn't it interesting to think about, you know, which sensibilities will travel well? Mm-hmm. You know, what is going to be universal about your play?
I'll tell you one thing we had to translate in the play. At one point, the Soviet Budvinnik refers to the fact that they had been talking about Babe Ruth, and refers to Babe Ruth as the Sultan of Swat. This was somebody he's very fascinated by. My Soviet translator said, you know, we really don't know who Babe Ruth is in the Soviet Union. So I said, well, let me think. How about Muhammad Ali? And they said, oh yeah, we know him. You know, so they know Muhammad Ali, and who really is quite world famous. So it changed into Muhammad Ali, Karol Boxerov, which is king of the boxers, and so it's going to be that now. You know,
that's interesting.
There is a bit of a few cultural changes that had to occur.
Do you find yourself secretly hoping that something political might happen from seeing your play in either country?
Well, you know, I think it would be naive to assume that any particular work of art or cultural contribution has a direct impact. You know, I think a writer who's writing something serious tries to write something serious to help people organize their emotions about something. You know, to help them get a bit more of a handle on how they feel about something, and perhaps some more insights into the ways things work. But I don't think that I'm writing a prescriptive sort of work which tells us now how to get out of all this, you know, and I don't think anyone could, in the brief period of a couple of hours, come up with that.
As a playwright, you must be so used to your play vanishing at the end of the night, and then suddenly along comes the television camera, and it freezes what's there, and you can watch it over and over and over again.
I think it's very valuable. You look back at the time, you know, pre-television, when some of the great performances were being given, which we'll never see, which we can only hear spoken of. You know, Lorette Taylor in Tennessee Williams plays, things like that. You know, we'll never see it. We can only hear the legend. The advantage in theater is that you were there, living in the room with these people, and that lends its own kind of excitement.
Why do you write plays?
Well, the nice thing about writing a play is that if you can get it into the production you like, you know, and have it really work that, you know, as well as it can on a stage, then you can go sit in the audience with the audience, and you can feel when they are ratifying what you wrote. You know, when they are as compelled as you were when you first thought of the idea, when you first started working with the idea, then you did your work right. You know, because that's what a play is for. A play is to capture that audience. And once they have gone through that experience in public, you know, with the performers, they know that they did. You know, they may, you know, who knows what they'll do with that knowledge. They may suppress it. They may, you know, they may not want to live in that emotional truth, you know, but they at least were witnesses to it at that moment, you know, and I think that that's all you really can hope for as a playwright. That's what you're after, you know. To an extent, it can happen with film. It can happen with television, you know. But the great thing about theater is that it happened to you in front of living witnesses, and living people gave it to you, you know. And that's a great experience.
Well, best of luck to you, and thank you.
Thanks very much.
Lee Blessing wrote A Walk in the Woods. I'm Faith Middleton. Thanks for watching American Playhouse.
The presentation of American Playhouse is made possible by the nation's public television stations, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the National Endowment for the Arts, and by the Chubb Group of insurance companies, for over 100 years providing business and personal insurance worldwide through independent agents and brokers.